G'day wherever you may be around the world, and thank you for joining us for the Gospel Truth, where we take the Blue Letter Bible's list of parallel passages to investigate quotations from the Jewish Bible found in the Christian New Testament. G'day, Jason.
G'day. I'm going well, thanks very much. How are you?
That's good. I'm good, thanks. I'm just having a cup of tea.
Oh, good. Enjoy that tea. Everyone should go make a cup of tea now. Pause this, go make a cup of tea, come back. You can share
I prefer,
the tea.
this is dandelion chai, just so you know.
Oh, it's fancy tea. My tea just comes in a bag with tea written on the front.
Dandelion chai. No, I'm drinking this because I've got a bit of a cold, and apparently my nose is shiny.
So while you're going to make your tea, viewer, get your sunglasses. And get your sunglasses on. Save any possible retinal damage. If the sun comes through your window in the wrong angle, you could blind us all. Okay, we're going through this list. If you haven't seen the previous show, there'll be a link on the top corner of your screen, the top right hand corner. There'll be a little question mark. You can click that. It'll take you to the previous show. Today we're looking at an interesting one. And it's Matthew 2:6 and Micah 5:2. And this, for me, is interesting because every good story that you want to convey as truth has to have elements of truth in it to grip the audience. And for me, this is one of those. So the argument in Matthew 2:6, which is quoting Micah 5:2, is a strong argument in that they're saying that this piece of text is pointing towards a specific character in the form of moshiach, of Messiah.
Should I read it in the voice or should I just read it?
No, always do the voice.
I always do the voice. Okay, Here we go. Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the wise. Just want to emphasize that word. Wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and have come to worship him." Because that's what you do. When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. All Jerusalem were troubled. Okay, I won't get into the commentary just yet. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he inquired of them, "Where is the Christ to be born?" And so they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, and here it is. But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not least among the rulers of Judah, for out of you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people. And then Herod, when he had secretly called the wise men, determined from them what time the star appeared, and he sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search carefully for the young child, and when you have found him, bring him back to me, that I may come and worship him." Well, all of a sudden we have this standard response of, "Oh, the Moshiach has been born, let's go worship him." Do we ever find that anywhere in the Tanakh? You know, there's a Messiah, there's a king, let's go worship the king. Does anyone worship Herod? It's really
I think
weird.
they fear. Well, Herod's an interesting character, and if we are going to go through really quickly from the beginning, the whole concept that a new star has appeared in the sky and therefore the King of the Jews is born, you won't find anywhere else. And historically, look it up at home. Historically, Herod died before the traditional birth of Jesus by about 4 years. So that whole mash is difficult to swallow. There's no historical evidence that Jerusalem was waiting for a new star to appear in the sky. I think what's happening is there are certain pointers in the Tanakh that kind of point you forward to this idea of a Messiah. And sometimes they'll use words like star and root and branch, but they're poetic. No one's actually waiting for a tree to grow as a new star appears and one particular branch to come out, and under that branch is Messiah. That's not what's meant to happen. It's like it's pointing people to a kind of an allegory, an illusion of something that wasn't there before and is now and it's new.
Just to can I just repeat something you said? And I'm just reading from the study notes here. Herod the king is Herod the Great, who reigned over Palestine from 37 BCE until his death in 4 BC or 4 before Christ.
Yeah.
But there is the understanding that Jesus was born 6 years before Christ.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? Which is good because it gives him 6 years to save up and buy a present for when he goes there and bows in the stable.
That's pretty good. So potentially Jesus could be 2 years old if that is the case, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, so these wise men have gone, oh, we've heard something about a king being born in Jerusalem. We better go and worship him. What the? Okay, sure. Let's just stop by. We've been following this star thus far. We've made it to Jerusalem. The star has stopped. The star seems concerned. So let's ask the king if he knows where his replacement has been born. They stop and do that for a while and get everyone worried. And then all of Jerusalem goes, oh no, the Messiah's been born. A bit stressed out about that. I don't know what to do.
You know what travels faster than 3 men chasing a star on a camel? Bad news in Jerusalem.
So this is apparently what's happened, and then Herod gets everyone together, all the rabbi. Now there's an incredibly anti-Semitic study note here in Matthew 2:5. Matthew clearly records how the Jewish religious authorities, who became Christ's enemies later, unintentionally affirmed that Jesus had fulfilled a messianic prophecy in his birth. God sometimes uses the words of his opponents to speak the truth. How's that? Oh my goodness.
Are these the same Jewish authorities that Jesus later says that everything they tell you to do?
Yeah,
you have to assume that they are.
I just find that really, anyhow.
Yeah.
So that's that. So then, so apparently all the scribes and the chief priests and so on said, yeah, he's got to be born in Bethlehem.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
so let's just quickly assume as well that Jesus was born in Bethlehem for a second. Isn't Jesus called a Nazarene? We'll get to. We're doing a whole show on that soon, but
yeah. Okay, that's a little teaser. That's a little teaser because that one I think I'm going to enjoy more than any of the other 855 ones. Let's not go into that in detail, but we'll be getting to that very, very soon, so stay tuned. And Herod, when he had secretly called the wise men, determined from them what time the star appeared, and he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search carefully for the young child. When you found him, bring back word to me that I may come. He sent them to Bethlehem. And then it goes on to say, when they heard the king, they departed, and behold, the star, which they had seen in the east, went before them. So the star, maybe it was daytime, and maybe they couldn't see the star during the day, and they thought, oh, maybe we've arrived. Let's ask the king if he knows where the new king is, so that we can go and worship the new king, but not the present king. So I don't know, but then maybe then the sun went down, and maybe this star was visible again, and it went before them until it came and stood over where the young child was. Now you and I have spoken about this before. I love this. Was it a spaceship?
Yeah, or a comet?
Well, no, but even if it was a comet. Now remember when we spoke about this before. Even if there was an aeroplane flying overhead, and I was, if I was on my way to your place and I didn't know where you were, and you said, "Look, I'm in Bethlehem. Where are you?" I'm in Jerusalem. Oh, okay. So just walk this way. Actually, can you see up in the sky? Yeah, I can see the sky. Yeah. Can you see that airplane? Yeah, I can see that airplane. Okay, it's over my house now. And I'd go, oh right. So you're directly below that. Yeah. Okay, I know exactly where you are. No worries.
Yeah,
Rubbish.
I'm gonna pinpoint that space in the sky in my brain, and I'm just gonna keep walking towards that empty blue space, which is indiscernible from any other blue space.
So honestly, I mean, how this star would have to be fairly close to the ground in order to stop over a location and pinpoint the house in which someone was, in this case, Jesus was born. Got to stop and think about that, because it really does show how questionable this whole story is. They saw the star, they rejoiced, exceedingly great joy. Ooh! And when they had come into the house, they saw the young child. They fell down and they worshipped him, because that's what you do with a king of. And when they had opened their treasures, but get this, being divinely warned in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed for their own country another way. Well, why weren't they divinely warned in a dream before asking Herod in the first place? Because this apparently, the whole reason, them stopping and speaking to Herod is the reason why he goes and wipes out a whole lot of kids in Bethlehem, which of course is never talked about by any historian anywhere ever.
Yeah, there's a whole generation of people which don't talk about their older brothers. Yeah, it is odd.
And we have details. We have graphic details of massacres that Herod committed against his own people, but not this one. Not the one that the writer of Matthew.
Not the baby killing. So I guess going back, we have to reread this with some. As a Christian, when I was reading this, and it says in Matthew 2:4, and he demanded of them where Christ should be born. When I read that, I think Jesus, and he demanded where Jesus should be born. But that's not what they asked. They asked, and he demanded. So these wise men that have come from the east somewhere, we have to assume they're not Jewish. They've heard about this idea of a king, of a Messiah. And they, for some reason, have associated that with this flying bright light. And they come and they ask, they demand of the chief priests, where is Messiah to be born? And the priests respond with one of the clues in the text that comes from Micah 5:2. Micah 5:2 saying, but thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though be among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall come forth unto me that is to be the ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been of old, from everlasting. And that, according to the sages, is a little hint that the main redeemer or the ruler that's going to bring Israel back from the brink forever and ever, and rule forever and ever, or his line will rule forever and ever, will be the Messiah. And that was what they thought 2,000 years ago. That's what they thought now. And of course, that's what the sages would have said to these foreign kings. Although king is unfair, so is wise. I think they were like well-off scholars of their time.
Yeah, the general consensus is that they were astrologers of some sort.
Yeah,
some learned people. So whoever, I mean, we can speculate, but
it's worth. I just want to read out what the Chabad.org's translation of the Tanakh is. You can go to Chabad.org. There's a link to the Tanakh. You can use that anytime, and often just go and see what they say. The text says so.
Website.
In Micah chapter 5:1, it says, "And you, Bethlehem Ephratah, you should have been the lowest of the clans in Judah, for you," and in brackets it says he, "shall emerge from me to be a ruler over Israel, for his origin is from of old, from days of yore."
It's Micah 5:1 in the Hebrew and 5:2 in the Christian Bible.
Yeah. If I read on, though, in the Jewish Bible, interestingly, it says, "Therefore he shall deliver them unto the time a woman in confinement gives birth, and the rest of his brothers shall return upon the children of Israel." And it goes on to talk about a story which has nothing to do with Jesus, the birth of Jesus, to do with stable or Mary's house, depending on which gospel you read, and very much to do with the remnant of Jacob and the nations. But go through and read the whole of Micah. It's not very long.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no secret as to what this is about. But I don't. It's not saying that the king is going to be born in Bethlehem. It's saying that out of Bethlehem will come a ruler, and this is in reference to the fact. This is in reference to David. But we know that already. I mean, it's a great chapter. It's a great passage, full of hope and a wonderful prophecy. But we only have to go back to, what is it, Samuel chapter 2 Samuel 7, verses 12 to 16. I think the prophet Nathan is talking to David's, and he makes clear that the Messiah, the King of an everlasting, the kingdom, is not just through David; it's also through Solomon. But it's no secret. I mean, we already know that. That's great. But it's not saying that this particular king, the king that will lead Israel into victory, the Messiah, that is part of the restoration of Israel. It's not saying that this prophecy is not demanding that he be born in Bethlehem.
And if you did take that as gospel, then you have to be able to place that prediction on anyone else that was born in that Bethlehem ever.
Yeah.
Just because you're born there doesn't instantly mean that you are going to be the Messiah.
No.
It's a nonsense.
No, it is nonsense.
It's not helpful at all.
No. It doesn't help. Have we done it? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. And I know it sounds like there's a weak answer, but the difficulty in giving a firm answer is that you can only do that if there's a firm question, and this isn't a question. It's a vague waving at the horizon, rather than saying, what's the name of that tree? You're saying, what's the horizon made up of? And you can't answer that because it could be made up of anything depending on your perspective. So sorry if it's not, there's no real, you can't go to your friends now and say, well, this and this, but what you can say is that Matthew 2:6 doesn't actually point to anything that you can pin down, unless you want to pin down every child of any generation that was born in Bethlehem.
Fair enough.
Apparently is, yeah.
You don't go worshipping kings of Israel.
Yeah.
Don't do that. That's silly.
No.
You can't follow a star to someone's house. Don't do that. That's also silly.
You can't. That is silly. If you think you can, or you've tried it, then seek medical attention.
Have a go, and if you have any success, put it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Tell us where, so that we can go there and worship them. Thanks for watching. You can go over to truth2you.org. There'll be a link under this video. See more of Jono. I'm at spiritualbabies.net, or you can just look at everything, because I put everything on this YouTube channel. And we'll see you all again next week. Let us know what you think, by the way. Stick your comments, whatever they are. Try not to be abusive or sweary, because I'll just delete those. But anything that's polite, regardless of your viewpoint, stick it into the comment section. It's fun to read. And we'll be back soon.
Good one. Cheerio.